value structure in a drawing is, or a painting itself, essentially the differentiation between light and dark. In the light, we'll call that high key. In the dark, we'll call that low key. And by separating those lights, you can create drama, depth of space. You can create textures as well as that, along with that. And so I'm at a real good point with this drawing. This drawing here is a drawing that I'm doing for an upcoming show in November 2021 at the San Diego Japanese Friendship Garden in Balboa Park. And so this is a good time to do this video blog to explain how I approach this separation of light and dark. I'm using Strathmore paper here. I buy it in a roll, and what I've done is I've put charcoal dust onto the drawing, and I'm only using vine charcoal. Vine charcoal is a very soft charcoal. It's very easy to remove it. It's very easy to put it back on. And so what I'm doing here is just using that so that can give me a roadmap of how I want to separate my lights and darks. Eventually, I'll be bringing in compressed charcoal, which will really bring in some dark blacks. And I might even start using some erasing, such as a kneaded eraser and whatnot, in order to get some really defined whites in this drawing. But at this point, the drawing is laid out. I've already done my preliminary drawings. I've already done my preliminary layout. So it's a good time to start looking at how I'm going to separate my lights. Since I don't want to get way into the details when it comes to doing this process, I'm just going to use a chamois here. And with the chamois, I'm just going to start lifting areas of that vine charcoal in order to try to create the drama that I was mentioning before. So the main subject of this painting or this drawing here happens to be this walkway here. So that's the focus that I want on this piece of artwork. So I'm just going to start with removing light from the top of that surface. You can see how easy that is to separate that light. So that gives me my central focus now in regards to the overall composition. There are a couple of key areas that I want though, but what I do want is I kind of want this circular idea, visual idea. So I'm going to work from the center and I'm going to start working out when it comes to the simple removal of the vine charcoal. So underneath the bridge, I want a little light coming underneath the bridge here. I'll keep it dark here because this is one nice area where you want to have this separation of light and dark. I might go back and remove some later on when I go and do the detail. Right now I'm just going to leave it like that. At this point I'm also going to remove it so that I have a shadow here. But I want a reflection of this bridge. So I want to make sure that I only get a little bit there. Now we have the rocks and we have some of the trees around that bridge. So let's take a little bit off of some of this rock. And the rocks on this side. When you do this process, it's often good just to step back and take a look and see what you got. So that's essentially what I'm going to do. Is I'm just going to take a look, take some time, see if I like what I see so far. That's looking pretty good. And now what I'm going to do is this surrounding tree. I'm just the highlight of the tree here. It's my little introduction of a bonsai tree there. And then this tree that comes down into it. Notice that I'm brushing off the charcoal as I go. And during this period of time, they actually had a cherry blossom tree going. And I really love that cherry blossom tree, and that's what this one is here. So this is the cherry blossom tree that's blooming. And I want that to kind of stand out as an ideal spot for the garden itself. It's really great that they have these cherry blossom trees. When I was in Japan, the cherry blossoms were starting to go. I didn't get to see the full blossoms, but I certainly saw the beginning of that, which was very nice. Okay, so here I got the trees. And you can see that with the tree, I'm getting that circular motion. I'm getting that movement of the eye moving through this area of concentration. So now I want to bring you in to the drawing here. And so in order to do that, I'm going to start at the bottom here, and I'm going to remove some light or some darkness, create some light here, this area. And notice I'm not worried about detail right now, because it's really about the overall image that you're seeing, not about the detail. When I was learning to draw in my figure work, what the teacher said, my teacher was Yuji, he stressed having a very good structure within your drawing, and then after you have that structure, then you separate light from dark. So you look at your shadow lines, you look at your highlights, and you separate that light from dark. And now, once you do that, you never violate the idea that my darkest light will never be darker than my lightest darks. And that means when I create this structure in here, I can only go lighter on the light areas, and I can only go darker on the dark areas. And that's that push-pull that you end up doing. Even in reflective light. I know some people that have a lot of experience are probably saying, well, what about reflective light? Even in reflective light, it will always be darker than your lightest darks within your shadows. You have your core shadows, and then you have your cast shadows. And in both cases, that is going to be a truism there. Okay, so let's see what that does for us. Well, that definitely starts moving the eye. I can see the eye starting to move, and it definitely brings me focus into the walkway. But I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to create some depth in here. Right now, I can't, I'm not working with colors. I'm just working with charcoal, so I'm just working with black and white. With color, I can change saturation, which can give you a sense of depth. But what I want to do is I want to start giving you that idea that you're moving into the piece. And the first thing I need to do in order for that to happen is I need to get me a skyline in here. And this skyline is just from our experience, we know that that's further away, and that's going to help our idea of depth. Make it irregular. I don't want a hard edge on my back mountain. I want a soft edge. This is one thing that I find I had a problem with in the beginning when I was doing a lot of landscape work, is that I would create hard edges between my lights and darks. And I had a really good friend of mine, William Glenn Crooks, who explained to me how light wraps around surfaces, that there are no hard edges in nature, hard edges that we see are graphic. But if you're trying to represent nature, what you want to do is you want to make these edges soft, so that gives you that idea of light wrapping around the edges. Also, it's a great way of bringing background into foreground by creating soft edges and soft passages, eye passages, that bring you through the whole work. The same with this, is bringing you up through the work. Okay, so that's doing the top. Now what I want to do is probably get a little bit lighter on the top. So I'm going to go back in my other thing, and actually I am going to use a little bit of a kneaded rubber, because I want a little bit of the light right on the edge of the mountain scene. Now this of course is not going to be exactly what we're going to see if you go to the garden itself, because you know it's in the middle of a city. But I want to create the drama here that you are in this nature, you know, this idea of a Japanese garden where you're in nature, you're enjoying nature, and also there are surprises. Anywhere you go, anywhere you walk, something new is going to pop up. And so I kind of want to create that with this. I had to pause the video. It's trash day today, and there's a little bit of noise when the trash can came by. But it was cool for me to watch them grab the trash and put it in there. It's pretty neat mechanical thing that they got going there. So anyway, what I want to do here is I want to create what I call these little peekaboo items of light. And it's not exactly what you see in nature, but it's something that if you are looking at something very dark, you're going to see the lights come out of that. If you're looking at something very light, you're going to see things that are going to come a little bit darker. So what I want to do is I'm playing with your eye a little bit here, and some of the things that I really love is the idea of how light comes through trees. So this area in here where I have the branching, I'd like you to really see that branching. So I'm just going to create a little glow coming out from this area. Now it's going to be lighter in this area and a little bit darker in that area, because your eye will go towards the light. So whenever you're seeing something, your eye will go towards the light. So by making this lighter, your eye will then continue to move over here. That helps this area of movement. Now I'm going to work on this area of movement, and I'm going to bring some light out from under this bonsai tree here. Now, if you don't like it, if it doesn't look right to you, then it's really easy to fix it with vine charcoal. It looks a little artificial to me now. So all I'll do is I'll take my vine charcoal, imagine how this comes in darker, and then maybe just bring in the dark here, and there you go. That's all I need to do. So you don't have to fret with these things too much. You know, you can play with it. So that gives me, I think, a really nice view of the light going in there. It seems a little light on the left-hand side, lighter on the left-hand side than the right-hand side. So I'm going to bring some more light in through some of these trees. So I have this tree here that's kind of hanging out, and I'm going to bring some light in from that tree here. So you notice how I'm playing. I mean, essentially this is live. I'm not going to change what I'm doing here. I might go back later on and change how I lay that out. But what's most important is that you understand conceptually what I'm trying to do here. some of the trees in the background. Oh, I want to play with those. Maybe this little tree here, or bush, because I got a little bit of bushes here in the background to give you some more depth. Okay, and I'm going to stop here. So I hope this helps in this idea of separating light and dark. I probably will go back. I'm almost surely to go back and play with this some more. But right now, I think I have a very good roadmap in regards to how I want to deal with my light areas and my shadow areas, and how to create drama, depth, and movement of your eye when you're looking at the piece. Thank you very much for watching this full video in regards to how I work with my lights and darks. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. I appreciate that very much. Give me any comments that you have, any questions, feel free to send those to me, as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can go to my website at reekersart.com and get on a mailing list there, where I'll give you information in regards to upcoming events and discounts, as well as you can follow me on social media with Instagram under Ron Reekers. If you like figurative work, you can go to Reekers Fig, and as well as Facebook under Ron Reekers, and my Facebook site, Reekers Art, where both the Reekers Art and the Instagram have a shop where you can see the various art items that I have there for sale. If you really like to help me in regards to this journey that I'm on, you can go to my Patreon page under Ron Reekers, and I appreciate that. I have various tiers of support for that, and believe me, that is really, really appreciative. So, I hope you enjoy your charcoal drawing or any kind of artwork that you're doing, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye-bye.